Federal Executive Council approves 28.12 billion naira for infrastructural projects in Wasa Abuja district. Electricity workers demand reversal of power sector privatization. Zamfara State Commissioner for Information to distribute 200 bags of maize to orphans and less privileged. On business, Nigeria and Morocco signed 7,000-kilometer gas pipeline deal. On international scene, King Charles III to fire over 100 staff of the royal residence. And in sports, Potter thumbs up Chelsea's performance against Salzburg. Hello and welcome to Svtv Newsroom. I'm Kuthum Mohammed, now the news info. The Federal Executive Council has approved 28.12 billion naira for the augmentation of road and other infrastructural projects in Wasa district of the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja. FCT Minister Mohammed Bello said the council augmented the cost of the project to be completed in 42 months by 28.12 billion naira from the sum of over 56 billion naira approved in 2014 to a new contract figure of 85 billion naira, saying the district has a total area of 367.11 hectares. He said more than 35% of the project had been executed. While speaking on the Umaru Musa Yar'Adua Expressway Kuje Tipa Garage Junction Road project, the minister said the contractor had received the forced mobilization fund and that the work was currently going on. Militant leaders of the Niger Delta region are currently at war over the 4.5 billion naira monthly pipeline surveillance contract awarded to former leader of movement for the emancipation of Niger Delta government, Ekpemu Polo, popularly known as Tompolo, by the federal government with Alhaji Asari Dokubo, alleging that Mr. Tompolo bluntly refused to involve Alhaji Asari and other ex-militant leaders in a $144 million coastal protection contract ex-President Goodluck Jonathan gave to all of them during his tenure. Mr. Dokubo, leader of Niger Delta People's Volunteer Force, launched series of verbal attacks on Tompolo since the federal government, through the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation Limited, awarded the pipeline surveillance contract to Tompolo and other contractors in the Niger Delta. It could be recalled that commander of defunct movement for the emancipation of Niger Delta, Victor Ben Ebika Bowe, and other ex-militant leaders and stakeholders of the Niger Delta had on Monday lashed out at Dokubo over his recent outburst against Tompolo over the pipeline surveillance contract. This came as Niger Delta activist and Itsekiri leader Chief Rita Lori Ogbegbo yesterday warned the federal government to, as a matter of urgency, withdraw the pipeline contract awarded to Tompolo, describing it as invitation to anarchy. The National Union of Electricity Employees has urged the federal government to reverse the privatization of the nation's power sector, describing new owners of the privatized companies as hustlers and hawks who have contributed poorly to the power sector. The union also accused the new owners of deceiving the federal government into paying 2 trillion naira subvention, even as it is insisted that they had continued to impoverish Nigerians, leaving the country pillaged. It claimed that despite recognizable improvements in the wheeling capacity of the transmission company of Nigeria, the generation of 7,000 megawatts output had now dwindled below 5,000 megawatts. The union pointed at the activities of the new owners as part of reasons the power sector has gone almost comatose and the impoverishment of the average worker in the sector. The Federal Fire Service has decried the absence of water hydrants, which before now assists officials of the service in fighting fire during outbreaks. The service said in the past, water hydrants that were positioned around towns came in handy when they ran out of water. A water hydrant is a piece of plumbing hardware that attaches to a buried water supply pipe outside of a well, which can be turned on and off to provide water from a private supply system. Disclosing this in Lagos at a safety sensitization drive, the Zonal Commander Zone F Southwest Assistant Controller General of Fire, Chike Njoku, said Most of the water hydrants were removed during road constructions and were not replaced. Mr. Njoku noted that as part of efforts to ensure the reduction of fire incidents during the last 4 months of the year as the Harmattan approaches, the service is embarking on the sensitization drive to enlighten citizens on what to do and avoid during the period. Zamfara State Commissioner for Information, Alhaji Ibrahim Magaji Dosara, will next week release 200 bags of maize for distribution to members of public, particularly the orphans, less privileged and the internally displaced persons in the 10 wards of Maradun local government area of the state to ease their hardship in the increasing cost of living. The gesture is to complement the efforts of Governor Bello Matawalle in alleviating the sufferings of the people, particularly at the grassroots level. The Commissioner therefore directed the ward's APC chairman in the local government to liaise with the local government APC chairman Alhaji Yakubu Gado and their local councillors to prepare comprehensive list of selected beneficiaries in their respective wards to enable the exercise commence in earnest. He adjourned them to ensure honesty, fairness and sympathy for the targeted beneficiaries in the selection of the exercise to ensure justice and the realization of the objectives of the exercise. The Minister for Water Resources, Alhaji Suleiman Adamu, has called for the closure of the Gadar Sarkin Kogi at Tega in Bebeji local government area of Kano State for both motorists and pedestrians for their own safety. Alhaji Adamu made the call during a joint assessment visit to the Tega and Bagauda dams respectively with Governor Abdullahi Ganduje of Kano State. This is contained in a statement issued by the Chief Press Secretary to the Deputy Governor, Hassan Fage, on Wednesday in Kano. The minister explained that the spillway at the two dams were functioning properly, contrary to the rumors. The minister said the floods did not affect the Tiga and Bagauda dams, adding that the level of water in the dam had not risen. Alhaji Adamu directed the Hadijia Jama'are River Basin Development Authority to continue with routine maintenance of the dams. The ongoing strike by the Academic Staff Union of Universities has ended its 7th month. The union on February 14, 2022, embarked on a strike following what is described as the failure of government to meet some of its demands. Meanwhile, the leadership of ASU met with the Committee of Vice-Chancellors and Pro-Chancellors of Universities on Wednesday over the lingering strike. Reports gathered that the peace team comprises past Vice-Chancellors and Pro-Chancellors. A source familiar with the matter said the meeting was originally proposed by the peace team that was set up by the Committee of Vice-Chancellors. The meeting was held at the National University Commission and all the issues were raised, the issues of funding, that is, the release of the Revitalization Fund, the withheld salaries, adjustment of salaries and most importantly, ending strikes permanently in universities. Meanwhile, former Vice-Chancellor, in a communique made available to newsmen in Abuja on Wednesday, hailed the federal government for approaching the National Industrial Court in a bid to end the strike. They proposed a middle ground where the government can resolve the trust issues by taking actions to propose to the National Assembly its decision on improved funding. Now in business.
Audio Jungle.
Nigeria, through the Nigerian National Petroleum Company, will on September 15 sign a memorandum of understanding with Morocco with supervision from ECOWAS for a 7,000-kilometer gas pipeline project. NNPC stated this in a statement on Tuesday, citing its Group Chief Executive Officer, Mele Kyari, saying when he paid a visit to the President of the ECOWAS Commission, Dr. Omar Toure, in Abuja. The visit, according to NNPC, was in line with the federal government's mandate to drive the execution of the 7,000-kilometer Nigeria-Morocco gas pipeline project. It also said the visit was in preparation for the signing of a memorandum of understanding between the NNPCL, Office National des Hydrocarbures et des Mines of Morocco, and the ECOWAS on September 15, 2022 in Rabat, Morocco. During the visit, NNPC and the ECOWAS Commission reaffirmed their commitment to the project, which, when completed, would provide gas to the West African countries through to the Kingdom of Morocco and subsequently to Europe. The statement also said NNPC and ONHYM would sign 2 Memorandum of Understanding with Société Mauritanienne des Hydrocarbures of Mauritania and Petrosen of Senegal, both of whom will participate in the project. Once completed, the project will supply about 3 billion standard cubic feet per day of gas along the West African coast from Nigeria, Benin, Togo, Ghana, Côte d'Ivoire, Liberia, Sierra Leone, Guinea-Bissau, Gambia, Senegal and Mauritania to Morocco. Now on international scene.
Audio Jungle. Audio Jungle.
Up to 100 employees of Clarence House, a royal residence in the city of Westminster, London, in the United Kingdom, have been informed that they would soon be redundant following King Charles III's accession to the throne. According to a report by the UK Guardian on Tuesday, employees at the King's former official residence, including some who have worked there for decades, received notification that they could lose their job following his accession to the throne. A civil service trade union has criticized the decision to notify King Charles' staff of redundancies during the period of mourning as nothing short of heartless. The General Secretary of the Public and Commercial Services Union, Mark Sekwota, said, while some changes across the household were to be expected, as roles across the royal family change, the scale and speed at which this has been announced is scandalous and extreme. Least of all because they do not know what staffing the incoming Prince of Wales and his family might need. He added that the union, which represents some palace workers, was working to ensure staff have full job security and that it continued to support other royal staff concerned that their futures are thrown into turmoil by the announcements at this already difficult time. Still on international scene, the International Air Transport Association says that the African international traffic continues to improve for airlines based in Africa with an increase of 84.8% year-on-year in July. But for airlines of the Middle East, traffic was up by 193.1% year-on-year in July, and international revenue passengers kilometers are now 22.3% below the July 2019 level. However, African airlines went from posting increased cargo volumes over the past year to June, to a 3.5% fall in July year-on-year. Analysis showed that air passenger travel continues its robust recovery, with revenue passenger kilometers rising by 58.8% in year-on-year terms in July, while domestic RPKs are now the main driver of the recovery. Volumes also grew by 4.1% year-on-year and reached 86.9% of 2019 levels in July, while international RPKs continue to increase globally, supported by easing travel restriction in Asia Pacific. Traffic increased 150.6% year-on-year, which places the international industry 32.1% below July 2019. The load factor remains high industry-wide at the 83.5%, with North America in the lead at 88.2%. Now in sports. Chelsea boss Graham Potter believes his team will get better after the Blues' 1-1 draw against Salzburg at Stamford Bridge on Wednesday. The result leaves Chelsea with an uphill task of qualifying for the Champions League knockout stages as they face AC Milan in a double-header. Reacting to the draw, Potter said they were disappointed by the result but impressed with the performances of the players. And that's all we have in news updates for today. But before we go, a recap of the major headlines once again. Federal Executive Council approves 28.12 billion naira for infrastructural projects in Wasa Abuja district. Electricity workers demand reversal of power sector privatization. Zamfara State Commissioner for Information to distribute 200 bags of maize to orphans and less privileged. On business, Nigeria and Morocco signed 7,000-kilometer gas pipeline deal. On international scene, King Charles III to fire over 100 staff of the royal residence. And in sports, Potter thumbs up Chelsea's performance against Salzburg. Thank you, viewers, and that's the news. On behalf of the editorial crew, Head of News and Current Affairs Department, once again, I'm Mohammed saying thanks for watching. Do have a nice day and keep watching Standard Voice Television.